So as we think, I'm curious to draw a connection here because one of the themes that I feel like I'm hearing uh, from you, Maureen, is kind of that, you know, whether we're talking about kind of shifting from your normal marketing and communications mix into figuring out what to do during the holidays, or if you're going from an in-person experience and shifting to how you can connect to that community in a non sort of a more online or offline, non-offline, I was going to say, so I had to figure out a different way to do
Double
that.
negative. That's amazing.
Non-offline. Uh, but the thread being there, I think, the thing that you think about as a PR professional, what are the types of, like perspectives that, you know, good PR professionals would bring to that help brands navigate those with consistency?
Yeah. I think that there's been a big shift actually. And this is something we've been talking a lot about with our clients, which is like, I think, 10 years ago, 5 years ago even, we kept talking about purpose and about you want to buy from brands that
Yeah.
share your values, and you want to work for a purposeful brand. And we actually did some research that identified a pretty significant shift,
Hmm.
and that's happened post pandemic. And it's not that people don't want to buy from brands who share their values, because they 1000% do. But what they really want to know from brands today is, what's in it for me? Like, what's the personal value I'm getting from this company, this brand? Like, how does it make me feel? What is it about the brand that is special to me? And it's this little more like, it's a little more a little more me over we than it used to be.
Hmm.
And I think like that's what we're really talking about with our clients is, how do you think about communicating in a way that very clearly speaks to an individual and says, here's the value we're providing you. And you can easily say, oh, that's for me, right? That's something that speaks to me and something that I want, whether it's through the product or it's through the actions you're taking as a company, or it's how you're showing up in your marketing in your community. But like having a little more of an individual perspective and how individuals perceive a brand, and not just how categories of people perceive a brand, or how specific audiences do. But really trying to put it down into that individual perspective, and how people are going to respond. And that's why I think we're seeing so much positivity when we're creating experiences that people can be a part of, right? It's not just buy our product, but here's an experience to be a part of in order to enjoy our product,
Hmm.
right? Or something that we're a space or a community that we're providing for you. I think that's what people want today. And yeah, we're just seeing it more and more. It's like, it's not enough
Hmm.
anymore to be like, oh, we're a good company, right? We have
Hmm.
values. It's like, you've got to go a step farther now and say, and here's the value we're providing to you. Not just we live by these values, but we're providing you real value. And
Hmm.
that's not even just for individuals, it's for all of the stakeholders, a
Hmm.
company talks to. I do a lot of corporate communications. So it's the same thing of like, when we're talking to investors, when we're talking to community leaders, when we're talking to elected officials on the Hill, like, what's the value we're providing them that they can say, oh, yes, you're a good actor, you're a good business, you're a good brand, we want to support you. So we're always looking at it through that value lens.
I'm really happy you brought this up because actually, Robert and I were talking about this, and I think the reason we were talking about it is because we were really excited to jump on with you, and we thought back to the last thing that we worked on together, which was
Mm,
connected to this idea of purpose. It was a
mm,
playing in the space of purpose with Pernod
yeah,
Ricard, who you mentioned,
yeah.
and that project was really interesting because I think it might be framed differently now than it was when we were doing this project. What was that? Was it pre 2020?
No, no, it's
No, it was
It was
2020.
2020. Okay.
Hmm.
And you know, I think one of the things that Robert and I were talking about as we started digging into this idea of like purpose and how brands would connect to that is, you know, I personally, just as like a consumer, have a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth from seeing which brands were excited to cash in on purpose versus which brands were the ones that stuck with the purpose and the values that they had, even if it was tough. And,
Yeah.
you know, you can see that in a variety of different spaces. And I think it's just kind of one of my takeaways is don't stand for something that you're not going to be willing to stand for, even if it's unpopular.
Oh, 1,000%. I think it comes down to authenticity, right? Because if you were, I mean, you're a brand like Ben and Jerry's, you're authentically purpose driven, right? That's who they are. They're going to continue to be that way. It's who they always were. They're going to stand up and stand out on the issues that they care about, but that's native to the brand, right? I think what we've seen in the past few years is that consumers consumers are more savvy about what's authentic and what's not, right? So they're not just going to believe when you say, "Oh, we care about this issue because we did one campaign on it." Right? They're more savvy than that. And so they want to see a brand that's authentic. And if there's an issue that's authentic to your brand, shout it from the rooftops, right? If there's something that you care about and like you said, chauffeur, you're going to care about it in good times and in bad, then that's something that's worth doing. But if it's something that if the wind shifts, you're not sure you want to communicate on it, whether it's through marketing or communications, then that's a sign that maybe it's not right for you. So I think it's authenticity, right? Like the focus needs to be on being authentic and true to who you are as a brand, and then how do you express that could come in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, we decided not to do the episode on purpose because we didn't want to spend the entire time with Topher and I just slagging the brands that we feel just dropped the ball. 'Cause we can get a little spicy sometimes. So I'm glad we saved it for dessert and not made it the entire meal.
Yes, absolutely. But what a lovely meal it has been from appetizer to dessert.
What a segue.
Thoroughly satisfying and finger licking good.
Chris, like a holiday cookie.
Yeah, absolutely.
Followed
Well,
by an espresso martini.
there you go.
100%. And
Well done.
preceded by one as well.